Sport in Wales podcast.
Supported by DragonBet,
Your go-to for Welsh sports news and views.
Hello and welcome to a new week and a new episode of the Sport in Wales podcast with me, Geraint Hardy. This is where we review and preview the Sport in Wales week with the help of special guests and our sponsor, DragonBet. Sport in Wales is co-founded by Gareth Anscombe and Cuthbert, and you can find our Sport in Wales magazine in various sport club gyms, leisure centres and lots of other venues right across Wales and online. Now, every week we're joined by two guests in the studio, and I'm delighted to say this week we're joined by the bosses. The big men are in, Cuthbert and Gareth Anscombe. Gents, how are we? I reckon tired. NFL was last night. Alex, were you up all night?
I am going to admit I was up all night. I've had about 3 hours sleep and then had the kids in the morning, so I am very tired. And I'm gutted because I was all about the 49ers last night, and the Chiefs obviously done them. So, yeah, it was a good game, but very big emotions this morning, especially how tired I am feeling, very tired.
Were you watching it in bed or sofa? Because if you go to bed, it's dangerous ground, that for me.
No, so I play a fantasy league sort of thing, NFL, and I won it this year, so I have to host. So we had all the boys round till about 4 a.m. They all staying at the Vale Hotel. So I had to kick them out about 3:30, 4 o'clock because I was like, I need to go to bed.
Can you say who was round? Do we know any of them?
No, you won't know any of them. Just lads from back home. A couple of lads from Bristol. They all travelled up. So it was good crack. A couple of beers, just chilled. Yeah, it was nice.
He's looking fresh, Gar, for it, to be fair.
I think he's used to not getting much sleep these days now with the little kids, by the looks of it.
Yeah. You're a big NFL fan, though. Were you up as well?
Well, I tried to be. I was up all night, but with a screaming 3-year-old, so it wasn't as much fun, to be honest. I watched the first quarter, but yeah, my daughter's not feeling too well, so I was up with her instead. So it took a bit of a turn. So I watched the highlights this morning. Again, like Cathy said, I was hoping the 49ers would win that one, and I was hoping my bet was going to come through. It wasn't far off in the end with James. So
yeah, you went for a double, right?
I did. So I thought we had that one for the charity, but no, Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs found a way to get it done.
Yeah, Mahomes, he took control at the end, didn't he, to be fair?
Yeah, he did. He was, first half, the 49ers are unbelievable. I thought, they would have run away with it, but for how bad they played, and they were only just behind, weren't they? And you just can't write that black. He knows how to win, doesn't he? And he's chasing down Tom Brady, isn't he, at the moment? I know he's a few behind. But
Brady's on 7, right?
7, but, he's won back-to-back. Yeah. They're looking for the third in a row, aren't they? And they've probably got every chance with Andy Reid in charge.
Yeah. Well, there's lots of doubts about them this year as well. So the fact that he's managed to do it with the sort of unknown wide receivers that they had, and lots of doubts. They struggled midway through the season, and then they've just come home really strong. And to be fair to him, even watching the highlights this morning, some big running plays at the end. And
missed kick.
Yeah, that charge down.
Yeah.
That charge down was a massive.
It was good. It was very good, and well done to anybody that stayed up and watched it. Yeah,
it's amazing, isn't it? It's got to be. Well, it is one of the biggest sporting events of the calendar. But every year they just get it right. I saw the traffic in Vegas. What a venue to have it at. Geez, we need to get rugby there ASAP.
I think it's like different people watch different highlights bit straight away. So I went straight for the match highlights, right? I know Anna, who helps us on the show, went straight for Usher at halftime. And I think my wife at home went straight for Taylor Swift.
My wife did the exact same, honestly. She's like embroiled in this love story with Kelsey and Taylor Swift. She's got no idea who he is. And now, because of Taylor Swift, she is invested into the game. So, yeah, it's a bizarre one. But
brand deals galore coming his way, I reckon.
Well played, I say. Well played.
Yeah. Tactical.
Hey, we've got to say as well, Alex, he's smashing it in the broadcast world now because you're now friends with Jim White from TalkSport. You got his phone number, right? Yeah,
I did actually. I had we had a good laugh a couple of weeks ago, obviously, before the Scotland game, and they got me in a couple of times now. Yeah, really enjoy it. It's good laugh. He's a proud, obviously, Scotsman. We had a little bit of a bet, to be fair, with that Scotland-Wales game, and so I owed him a few quid after that.
It was a £20 bet because I was listening in the car on radio. Have you actually paid him?
I offered it, but he was like very obliged. He said no worries.
He declined.
So but top man he was.
Fair enough.
Great to work for him.
Right, great. It's great to have you in, guys. We're going to have lots of fun today. We are going to discuss, sadly though, the Wales defeat against England. We'll talk URC, a bit of football, and our sponsor, James Level, founder of DragonBet, will join us as well with the odds for the weekend. But straight away, let's go to Twickenham. Wales losing 16 points to 14, and we're being really kind this week on the podcast because we're going to give an Englishman a chance to speak about their win against us. I mean, I don't know why we're doing this really, but delighted to do it anyway. We've got one of your former teammates coming on now, Alex. It could be gossip coming your way, I don't know, but Johnny Hale's joining us now. He's playing for Sale Sharks at the moment, injured as well at the moment. Johnny, welcome to the pod. You well, mate?
Yeah, well, very well, thanks, mate. had operation last Wednesday, so I'm pretty bedridden at the minute. So all good. Result of the weekend kind of cheered me up a little bit, to be honest.
So you're literally post-op, you're kind of strapped up right now. You're not moving at all. You're on your sofa from those watching on YouTube right now. Been in a lot of pain. Did you manage to watch the match properly?
Yeah, I managed to pull myself out of bed and get the game on, yeah. So woke up Saturday morning buzzing for it, to be honest.
I'm happy to give you the floor, if I'm honest, as an Englishman. Do you want to get the gloating out of the way? Do you want to tell us why England managed to win that game against Wales?
Always humble in defeat and in victory. That's English, So I don't want to drive the sword in because I know what's ahead as well. So I think it was a dogged performance. You saw both sides kind of not necessarily full of confidence at the minute, but the level of fight that both sides have got. You saw it go all the way to the end, and I knew all along it was going to be a one-score game, and luckily for us, we came out on top.
And who'd you give that credit to from an English perspective? Was it that front row battle right towards the end that kind of made the difference for you, or was it Ford kind of dominate that second half?
Yeah, there's a few elements in there. I think Ellis Genge coming off the bench and going against a guy that hadn't played many games for Bath at tight head for Wales. And then you got Fordy there, like steering the ship. Like you say, they're very, very key players. You got Danny Care coming off the bench, and it's like there's a lot of experience there intertwined with some very young, exciting players. So it's definitely what kind of steered us home. But I think previously England would have lost that game. I think Borthwick's kind of building a resilience in that squad, and I think England's last 9 games, they've only lost 1 to the world champions. So they're making a habit of winning tight games, which is really, really good looking forward.
Yeah, 2-2 now, and obviously you go to Scotland next, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I'll be really honest, we hate losing against England. It is, as long as we beat the English, is the slogan the Stereophonics sang. How much does it mean to you as an Englishman beating Wales? Does it mean as much?
I've previously played in the Six Nations and been involved in it. Like every game, there's 5 games, everyone hates England. And that's kind of that is the mentality of an English player. Like every time you play home or away, you're gonna get targeted, and for whatever reason, history, whatever, everyone hates the English, and it is nice to win every game, but you know that everyone's against you.
Where do you think, Johnny? Where do you think England would have focused their tactics for the weekend? I know you're probably still good mates with the boys, and obviously you're out injured at the moment. But do you have any idea where you think England would have tried to target Wales as such, or what they're trying to work on under Steve?
They would have spoken a lot about Warren Bull, about the kicking game that Wales implied previously. They would have spoke about not kind of submitting to that and not giving up, because previously England teams in those games have kind of given up and tapped out. So Steve would have been massively on them for staying in the fight all the way through and controlling the game, playing the game in the right area of the pitch, and they would have had confidence that they'd come on top.
And in terms of kind of Steve Borthwick going forwards now, is he the right man to completely turn England round, do you think? Obviously, they haven't been putting the world to light, but 2-2, like you said, the record's good recently out of them 9 games. If you beat Scotland, could England potentially kind of cause an upset in this Six Nations?
I don't know. I'm not sure really. I think Steve is definitely the right man for the job at this moment in time. I think the work that he's done and the work that Felix Jones is doing, you can already see the defence is really improving, and it's going to be interesting to see Scotland go against that defence in Ireland and France as well. So I think it's tough to say right now, but in these next 3 games, they're going to learn a lot about where they are as a nation.
And let's get your thoughts on Wales as well. Who stood out for you in the Wales camp?
Initially, Tommy Raffel. unbelievable player over the ball at the breakdown. He's tough, and I've also enjoyed watching Daff, Exeter lad, captaining the side, and the way he goes about his business. You can just see he's not a massive thinker, not an overthinker. He's just a doer, and having someone like that leading an inexperienced team I think is really infectious, and you can see Wales are just fighting hard all the way, which is brilliant.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. It's great to have you on, Johnny. I'm not going to wish you too well as an English nation in the rest of the Six Nations, but I do wish you well on your recovery. Before you leave, though, you obviously spent a lot of time with Alex over the years in Exeter. Any stories, any gossip you can share with us? He's worried here. He's bricking it.
I'm sweating right now.
What's your favourite Alex Cuthbert story?
There's a story of his fiancée. Sarah told me once. He's very well aware the one night, and he opened up the washing basket in the middle of the night and did a bit of business in there, closed it, and went back to bed.
Johnny, for that alone, I absolutely love you. Thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the day on the sofa, mate, and we wish you well, okay?
Cheers, lads. Thanks very much.
Cheers, John.
Cheers, mate.
We've all been there, Al. All been there, mate. Don't worry about it.
He's never come back on again.
He's laughing as he exits the Zoom call right now. Let's go seriously about Wales then. Obviously, we've not the result we wanted, Gar, but what are the positives we can take from that? Because Twickenham is a tough place to go, regardless of what England team you play against.
Yeah, it is. I think the positives are we should have won. I was at the game, and they had to stand up early on. They were under a ton of pressure the first 10 minutes.
What do you think we should have won?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I think we were under a ton of pressure the first 10 minutes, and we defended really well, came up with some big turnovers, and then we weren't too clinical, but we did enough, and we scrapped and we fought, and we had a good lead. And I'm looking at the game thinking, I think the last 20 minutes just got away from us, unfortunately. But I left thinking they could have walked away with that win there. So that's a real positive because no one gave them a chance. But yeah, look, the last 20 minutes, we just made a few simple errors and maybe our decision-making caught us out a little bit. In England, to be fair, George Ford kicked quite well the last 20 minutes and they just squeezed us. A couple of changes up front, like Johnny said. I think their front row that came on applied some pressure and they got some penalties. And we had them under the cosh in their 22 at one stage with about 15 to go. And I think they went about 2 or 3 scrum pens in a row, eventually gone to a half, and I think they ended up kicking a penalty to go ahead. So it's a funny one because I think they'll be disappointed to be leaving with a loss there, but at the same time they'll be pleased with the fact that they're having these conversations. Right, we can do it. We just need to be a bit more clinical at the right parts of the game.
Alex, Wales didn't score a point in the second half, which I think is why a lot of people maybe thought, well, Wales didn't turn up for the second half, but England applied a lot of pressure. They controlled that second half. And I was watching thinking, we're going to lose, but we could win it. We should be able to battle this back, but we didn't quite do it. Why wasn't that then?
I just think they showed what they were capable of, obviously, in the World Cup in terms of just those knockout games. They seem to just, like Johnny said, they've won an awful lot of games that are quite close. They just seem to be able to get over the hill and just get these results. And I think second half They would have been talking about all week about how just stay in the fight, like Johnny said, and they were relying on Genge, Coley, Danny Kerr, the experience coming off the bench to obviously match Wales's inexperience, wasn't it? Really, they really went after the tight Archie, and he ended up, giving away a fair few amount of penalties. Even when Wales were in great position, I think it was a period of the game where they had a scrum, they had a line break, didn't they? Got into the 22 of England, had a scrum, free kick, worked their way down the field, and England scored within 5 minutes of having the ball. So I think just little turning points like that where, inexperience is key. Penalties were obviously very much against them, I think, that second half. And if you're going to give George Ford that much time, he's very good at just putting it into corners and putting England on the front foot. And that just seemed to be the sort of focus from the start of the first half, the end of the first half into the second half. And I think they just probably showed a bit more experience and nous in how to win those close games.
Was that George Forge? Is that a 10 taking the game by a scruff of neck and saying, I'm controlling this? This is the narrative for this game. Because some of them 50-20 kicks, he had that one in particular, incredible. And the bravery to take it in that moment as well.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a great kick to 50-22. It wasn't planned. You know, he's got the ball and he's reacted really well to what's happened, and he's kind of been forced into it and executed it really well.
Yeah.
It's come off perfectly and things like that. I think when you look at both teams have got a lot to work on in attack. Both teams stuttered a lot with building phases and really playing with much tempo. I think Wales got a little bit caught out with how narrow we got in attack. That's something that we're going to have to keep working at. I think the team's going to have to address that. England had some nice phases, but again, just couldn't quite really put enough together. I don't really know what the difference was the last 20. Yeah, there was just a couple of turn-in moments, wasn't there, that we just didn't quite react well enough to, weren't quite accurate enough, and maybe it was England's experience at the end that got the job done. But I don't know, I left Twickenham thinking they certainly could have won that game. They probably didn't create enough. They didn't create enough in the second half, did they? Both teams struggled to create, but... yeah, I mean, they
wasn't a
weren't
spectacle,
far.
was it?
It wasn't a good game of rugby,
watch,
was it?
yeah.
Let's be honest. Alex, not often do we hear people criticise Warren Gatland. And Clive Woodward called him out on it, saying he shouldn't have made them changes to the front row towards the end of the game. Where do you stand on that? Because Elliot D, his line out was spot on. We can't afford to do line out late in the game. Key moments, set piece like that, we have to do better, right?
Yeah, obviously I think Warren's point of view, he was wanted to bring on the young boy. I think it was his first cap, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So they were going to obviously put Ryan on to help him, probably maybe more in the scrums. Would you say, Gareth? I think Ryan would probably be maybe more of a scrummager than say Elliot. But you know, he's got to get experience somewhere. I don't think Kieran would have been able to play 80 minutes, would he?
Yeah, I think Gat's probably too reacted to what England did. You know, they made those changes quite quickly, and it already been quite an attritional game, and he's probably getting nervous about getting left behind there. And yeah, you can say afterwards, was it the right call? But in terms of the line-out struggles, there's a lot more to it than just the hooker throwing. He's always the guy that takes all the blame, but there's so much more to the line-out in terms of first getting the call right, then it's about executing your roles in terms of the props, getting the lifters in the air, and then obviously the throw's got to be accurate. But I know Ryan maybe missed one on overthrow, but there's a lot more to just blame it on the hooker, I think. It's something Wales are going to have to shore up, because I think Ireland so far, who they've got next, have been world-class at line-out time. They stole a ton of ball from France in the first game there. I think they haven't lost a line-out themselves, and you just know Ireland are going to come really hard at us in a fortnight's time at line-out time.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting, that game, isn't it? Some positives from the game, though. Johnny Hill touched on it, Tommy Reffel. Is Jack Morgan going to be worried about his place now? Because Tommy's been class, and he was really good Saturday. I
think he's a big reason probably why Wales are staying in games as long as they are. Yeah. I think he's probably one of the top turnovers, I think, in the competition so far. We spoke before about it's mad, really, and I think if Jack was fit, obviously at the start of the campaign, he's probably starting, and Tommy maybe, even on the bench or whatnot. But he's put his hand up, isn't he? He's. I think Warren spoke about him. He needed probably to add a bit more to his game, his carrying, and he had a nice little break on the inside offload. He looked to get the ball in hand a bit more, and I think they probably worked with him in the week about that, and something they've pushed, because obviously defensively and the breakdown, he's unbelievable, isn't he? I think we played Leicester last year, and he had about 4 or 5 in the first 20 minutes. He's unbelievable over the ball, and we all know that. But international rugby, you've got to just maybe add a little bit to it, especially for Wales if they want to progress in their attacking games. I think they're just, it was 2 teams on the weekend that really weren't that great in attack. Well, they're both not fluid at the moment, and not really, which sort of shown as not a great spectacle to watch. So yeah, top player, and yeah, Jack. I don't think Jack would be too worried. I think he's a top player and top boy, and he'd be happy that Tommy's playing well. Can
Jack play 6? Tommy play 7 in the future?
I think the problem they're going to have is at line-out time, because they've done it before, but our line-out is struggling, and we're going to need more than 2 options. If Toby's not there, he's always been an incredible line-out option, but in today's day and age, you need a minimum of 3 at line-out time, a minimum. The best teams, even some of them have 4 options to throw to, and it just varies where you can throw the ball to. It gives you some easy outs, and with their line-out struggles at the moment, looking ahead, Jack and Tommy, for all their amazing play, the things they're good at, they're not really line-out options. So I've seen that conversation come up, and fairly enough, they should talk about it like that, because we need both of them on the park. But I wonder if our line-out struggles would stop that for the meantime.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future. Alex Mann, Al, he's been very impressive. 2 tries in 2 as well, which is amazing.
Take that, wouldn't he?
What impresses you about him in especially in Twickenham on Saturday?
I think he's obviously got quite good work rate in terms around the field, and he's looking to get the ball in hand. Obviously a lot. Obviously I think we just sort of struggled a little bit, I think, in terms of just trying to get over the game line, and he was probably one of the ones, same as George North. I think he was getting in the game slowly, but not enough. But no, I think you can't complain really. He's put his hand up, obviously, off the bench last week, and he had a solid game on the weekend. But you're playing against a pretty good back row that they had, England. Obviously, they went pretty well. I thought he started well, and then sort of maybe disappeared a little bit in the second half. And that's obviously, we're playing top level rugby, and I think what did he play for Leyte? I think wasn't far off it. So yeah, it's an experience that he's going to enjoy. And I think we spoke about I spoke to a couple of internationals on the weekend. I was like, when do you sort of feel like you're going to be a fully fledged international? When does that sort of, how many caps does it take? And we were chatting, maybe it's going to take 4 or 5 games to really realise if these boys are going to be good enough for Warren in terms of the future and what they can offer to Wales. So yeah, I think he's going to have to just keep playing and plodding away, and like he's doing. Yeah,
your thoughts on Owen Lloyd and Cameron Winnett as well? They've had 2 games now for Wales, more or less. I know Sam played a bit of the Scotland game, but solid start for both of them, really. Yeah,
I think that's fair to say. I think Cam has been really accurate in everything he's done, and I think that's what will please Gats the most. Not making any mistakes and being really accurate within his role. He's taken most high balls. He's been brave in defence. He's, for a small guy, he gets his head in the spokes. He's brave, just like Pence used to do. So there's a lot more to add to Cam's game, but I think he's had a really solid start to test rugby. So I think he can be really pleased with his first 2 weeks. I think Johan showed glimpses of what he can offer. He was always going to come under a ton of pressure in the weekend with us struggling to get much front foot ball. And I think he had some really nice touches. And look, he'll learn from that experience. So I think both of them can be reasonably pleased with their output, I suppose. A lot to learn and a lot to still get better at, but you've got to go through these experiences. And that last 30 minutes will probably hurt a little bit, but you've got to go through them as a player, and particularly playing as a fly half and in these key positions. It sometimes takes a little bit of pain to eventually come out the other side of it.
If you were on the pitch, what would you have been trying to do different to gain control of that game then? Or is it hard at 10 unless your forwards are winning kind of them scrimmage situations?
Yeah, it is. It's always difficult, when you're not maybe guaranteed set piece ball and you're struggling to get go forward. You're trying to find chinks in their armour to get a bit of momentum. There wouldn't have been much, but yeah, kicking game's always going to be important.
What about when they went to 13 men? They tried to go at the back a bit, trying to go wide,
Yeah, maybe that was a little bit of a learning experience for them. Maybe those are all things where they've tried to force it a little bit. We didn't exit very well, particularly in the first half. I think we scored, and as soon as we scored, I think that's when we tried to play, and Atojo wrapped up on by the sticks, and little moments there. You just need to clear your lines and relieve pressure and start again. Little moments like that. Like I said, I think Wales need to address how narrow we got in attack. I know we lost the man towards the end, but I felt at times we were really narrow, and England didn't have to defend much. So we need to look at why that happened and how we go about fixing that. I think the more we can have a longer line in attack in terms of having different options out the back, being connected, it'll bring in the likes of George, the Mason Grady's, the Rio Dyes. It's getting these guys more touches. So being a 10, that's something that you've got to try and think about. But I expect that's where Wales' focus will be for the next couple of weeks, because they did a lot of good, and particularly defensively, they're not far off it. I think there's 1 or 2 things with the kicking game they can shore up and look at different outs there. And if we're accurate within those roles, then we'll get some second balls, and that's when you can come alive. And I think that's what we need to see. You look at how we played Scotland in the last 20, 25 minutes. We looked so much better when we had a bit more tempo and we played with a bit more width. We kind of lost that in the weekend. So it's just trying to create those moments as many times as possible for a young Welsh side, I think.
Okay, so that's the message going forward to Dublin in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, easier said than done going there. Easier said than done.
Let's touch on the other games of the weekend. Scotland versus France. The question is simple. Alex,
Try.
was it a try?
Try, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Try. I'm going try as well. It was grounded, that ball, right?
It looks like it, doesn't it? I think the shame with it is I don't think it's... I mean, Nick Berry looks very close to the ball, and so he said it's held up. But it seems to be a shame that a result can all come down on what's asked rather than what's actually happened.
The question,
and just because the question's wrong, does it really mean we should get the wrong outcome? So I think that's something that needs to be looked at and addressed. But I mean, Nick was right there, and he's initially said it's held up. So unless he's seen something that looks different on camera, but when you look at it on TV, the ball looks so low, I can't see how anything's underneath it. You can see it next to the line. So for all intents and purposes, it looked grounded.
Do you agree with that? And the question being key?
Yeah, well, obviously Nick must have seen something that we obviously haven't seen in real time. I think when you slow it down, it looks like it is held up, and then suddenly it looks like down, doesn't it? So he's obviously gone on the first instance.
Yeah.
But like Gareth said, like if it's a try, it's a try. It's irrelevant what question you ask, really. But for me, it's just same old Scotland, isn't it? Really, sort of, all the talk and then not sort of doing the business. So
yeah, that is the problem. Hopefully they beat England in 2 weeks' time, anyway. But Ireland smashed Italy 36-0, I think, and with changes in that team. Al, what is it? What are they doing so well that others are not doing at the moment?
Well, their attacking game is pretty good, isn't it? They just got ball carriers all over the time. They're constantly on the front foot. They got a great kicking game. They got options. They got great, obviously, exit. Their exits are pretty good, aren't they? With James Lowe with the left foot. Crowley seems to be having a lot of experience. They even brought in Harry Byrne, who's probably not got too many caps, and he seemed to fit in quite well. Different nine. It's scary, really, how good Ireland are, and they weren't really at full strap. I think they would probably be annoyed that they probably left a few out there or gave Italy small chances in, but they're going to be, they're Grand Slam all over for me, for them. They're another level at the moment. Yeah,
they're playing the game as it should be played, I think, Al. Gar?
Yeah, they're a good watch, aren't they? It was a funny game yesterday because it felt like they started reasonably well and looked good, but then maybe left, like Al said, maybe just weren't quite there as well. They did it easily in third gear.
Yeah,
it looked like when you listen to sort of Farrell speak afterwards, there seemed to be a little bit of frustration within there.
Probably how clinical, really, wasn't it? Like the week before, they were really ruthless, weren't they, against France?
Yeah, I think...
Was that because they were in third gear?
I think they were, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think Italy only gone to the 22 twice. It was just a really poor display. I was just... Yeah, I don't know where Italy are at, really. I think they did so much good last week, and then you think, God, does that sum up where England are, maybe? They just didn't offer much. They were pretty inaccurate. They've got some nice multi-phase play, but are really loose with it as well, and they just didn't seem to have any substance about them. But I don't know, Ireland just took care of business really easily in third gear, I felt. They're certainly really settled side. I don't think people realise how tough it is to go over there in Dublin and win as well at the moment. That stadium's bouncing. It is tough. It is a pretty hostile environment. They have clearly a really confident squad. They believe in what they're doing. They're just so settled right across the park. And like Cuthie said, they make a few changes, but the guys they've got coming in are fitted in really well. Crowley at 10, I think, has been really impressive. I really like the look of them. I think he's going to be a really a big player for them in the future. Actually, he looks like a superstar. To be honest, he's been good.
It sort of says volumes, doesn't it? They have that many changes and they still put 36 points on a team like Italy. I think if Wales or England or Scotland make those many changes, the game is so stop-start. They may win by probably a try or two, and it just shows how good that squad is as a whole. They've just come in. They may not look amazing like they do with the first team players, but they still get a job done, and they're scoring an awful lot of points at the moment, aren't they?
So, what's your message to Wales going there, Al? Do we try and play against them? Do we try to keep it up front, or how do we compete?
I don't know. You just want to hope that a hurricane comes in and the game is very wet and windy and just stops. I don't know. It's our boys just have to go out there with fear. Really, I think if they can try and get that tempo against Ireland. Like it is actually really tough, isn't it?
I think Ireland have shown physically when they get stopped, what does their plan B look like? And they're almost a bit of they can almost struggle from all the success they've had. They're not used to actually being stopped that often. So when it does happen, because it doesn't really happen at the club level for them ever.
Yeah.
You wonder sometimes, do they struggle to go to plan B? They really, really have to go to it. And look, it's much easier said than done. But I think Wales have to be really dogged in the way they go out there, make it a real street fight, get up in their faces and shut them down. But they've got big ball carriers right across the park, but we've got to get in front of them. And if we can slow up some ball and take some time away from them, then you've got a chance. But I think for Wales, they can't get too caught up with Ireland in the next couple of weeks. I think they'll focus on a couple of things, but Wales just need to worry about themselves. I think with that young group, they go out there with another free shot and have a real crack. And who knows, you start the game well, then they'll take some confidence from it, because they haven't been blown away in 2 weeks, have they? You now look at this young Welsh squad where not much was said about them, but in some ways they could have definitely walked away with 2 wins here. So they're not probably as far off as what they think, but there's a little bit of work to be done there to compete with Ireland, definitely.
Yeah, Gatland says there's a good team in the making in them, definitely. So let's just see how it goes against Ireland in Dublin. URC's back this weekend, guys. Friday, Scarlets Munster, Cardiff Connacht on Saturday, Glasgow Dragons Saturday, and then Sunday, Ospreys Ulster. It's a hard period, this, isn't it, for the URC? And I'd say you'd know better than me, obviously, as for the players and coaches as well, to get the balance right and kind of keep the momentum going in the league. Do you agree with that, Al?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, Cardiff have got an awful lot of players in the squad at the moment, the Wales squad, so they're going to be, affected quite a lot. I think the Ospreys have only lost sort of 3 or 4. So, but I've been in training the last couple of weeks, and they're trying to keep the momentum going from the end of 4 weeks ago. I think the game against Lions were. So it's just trying to replicate that in these weeks off, and then try and get it into the game week. Obviously, we got Ulster at home, which is no easy game, but momentum's key, because when the Six Nations finish, you're going into knockout rugby and European rugby, so you want the team in the best physical and mentally state in terms of just momentum, confidence, and just knowing what you're going out there and doing. Yeah,
that's interesting. Alice says, there's been a 4-week gap. Is it 4 weeks? You said 4 weeks.
I think it's around that.
It's quite a lot, that, isn't it? It's like kind of reset, really.
Yeah, it is. I think. Is the English Premiership even longer? It's about 6-7 weeks. Yeah.
Oof, wow.
So it's a big change. It's a really important part of the season, because you can make up ground and quickly lose it. So, for the Welsh teams who have been towards the bottom of the table, there's some big fixtures, because if you can get a couple of wins here and suddenly get some cheap points while maybe the other teams are without a few of their bigger name players, then you can quickly rise up the table. But like Cuthie said, Cardiff have got so many out. Ospreys only lost a few, same with the Scarlets. It is a tough period. A chance for some of these younger boys that have been on the periphery to get more game time. But yeah, it's tough for the players, because they're in and out now, in terms of they've got a few weeks off, and then they get to training, and it must be tough. It is tough as a player to try and build that momentum, like Cuthie said, when you're sort of a bit stagnated at the moment. It's a funny time in the season right now.
Yeah, let's go for some predictions then. Scarlets Munster, Scarlets at home. Scarlets are one of them teams, really, though, have had such a bad start to the season. That's going to be a tough ask for them, even at home, yeah?
Yeah, Munster by
a few.
Yep.
Okay. Cardiff Connacht, with all them players missing?
How many are Connacht missing?
Not many. Bundy Aki, they've got a pretty good squad. I think Connacht, they don't lose too many players. Finley, Bealey, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, Cardiff usually go right at home, but I think with all these, all the boys being in camp, that might be a tough ask. So that might be
that'd be a good game, the way Connacht play, because they don't want to kick the ball out.
Both teams want to play, so that'll be an interesting one, that one.
Yeah, high scoring game, I think.
I'm going Cardiff win.
Okay.
I just think the feel good around the club is going to continue. That's what I'm saying. What do I know?
What, half of them are at Wales?
but they're thriving off their success. Do you know what I mean?
Is the feel good still there after the Quins game?
Well, that was tough, wasn't it? That was a tough defeat. No, it's not. But I do think they're doing positive stuff. You're talking to a Cardiff fan, okay? Just let me know.
Do you know
what I mean? Glasgow Dragons. It'd be nice to see the Dragons get something, but Glasgow, that's quite.
Is that in Glasgow? Sorry,
in Glasgow, yeah.
Yeah, tough place.
Yeah, very tough place to play.
And Ospreys Ulster. You going to be fit for that?
Yeah, I'm fit.
Good.
I'll find out this week if I'm playing. So
Okay.
first game in a long time. So not sure how long I'll play if I'm playing. So
I think I'm there on TV watching
so
that. So
be nice, please.
Cuthbert looks a bit unfit over there. That's
Carrying a
right.
bit extra
Clever,
weight.
yeah.
Where are we going there? I think Ulster might just sneak that.
I'll go Ospreys because Al's back. Al to score a brace.
That'd be
You watch
nice.
it.
That would be a good
You watch
start,
it happen.
wouldn't it? Yeah.
Good stuff. Okay, let's park the rugby there for then, and let's move on to to football. Sorry, and to do that, let's welcome our sponsor, DragonBet.
DragonBet, the bookmaker of Wales with the best odds on Welsh sport. Please gamble responsibly.
Mr. James Lovell, welcome. How are you doing? How was your weekend? You know the first question. How did the bookies do?
Yeah, all good. We lost this weekend. There were goals everywhere across all of football, which is just the disaster for bookies. We love a 0-0 draw, so there weren't many 0-0 draws. So that was pretty expensive on the football. And I think I aged about 20 years. So we went 10-1 Wales to win the match against England, which was just a stupid price in hindsight. We took more money on it than we ever have, and I just couldn't watch the match. It was awful. I desperately wanted Wales to win, but at the same time, it was going to cost us a fortune. So just didn't know how to feel at the end of the match. I felt like your missus had just told you you're better in bed than your best mate. I was both happy and sad at the same time, kind of thing. So yeah, I was glad when that was over. But stressful weekend and unprofitable at the same time.
Do you know what? I saw the 10-1 and I was thinking about it Saturday morning, and I was going to Cardiff City to work there, and I was thinking, I'm going to go Cardiff and Wales to win double. Do you know what I mean? And then only because someone distracted me, I didn't put it on. But that 10-1, I'm not surprised you got so many bets on that, because that's a nice price.
Well, I remember when we spoke about this last week, I was thinking that's tasty. That is well worth a punt.
Yeah, we did. We put a £10 limit on it, but I won't tell you how much we stood it for. But it was a heck of a lot of money. It's the most ever we've had to stand anything for. So these things sometimes they end up on, there's things called bonus forums on the internet. So it landed on a forum. So there's a load of non-Welsh people betting it as well. So it was a lot of money on it. Put it that way.
Hate the internet. Hate the internet.
Hate the internet. Hate the internet.
Okay, it was a mixed result for Welsh football teams, really. Cardiff lost 2-0. Cardiff weren't great. Sadly, Cardiff haven't won from home. At home, for 2 months now, and they've lost the last 3 as well. 7 points from the playoff now. Hull City lost 1-0 to Swansea City, a great win for the Swans away from home. Newport won 3-0 at Walsall, 4 wins in 4 from them, and 3 points from the playoffs, James Lovell. We'll talk about that in a minute. And Wrexham sadly losing 1-0 with a late strike for Bradford at the Kairas, which means that was the first, listen to this stat, right? They've scored in every home game since 2021. And that game they didn't. So that's very rare they didn't score at home. How did that fair things for you? Because let's be honest about it, Wrexham win, that'd have been a definite for you guys, right?
Yeah, Wrexham. Everyone puts Wrexham in all their. Whenever we do these kind of Welsh boosts and things, Wrexham are always in there. So that was good to get them beat. And now I'll be chasing them because as a bookie, you smell blood, don't you? So when a team's out of form a little bit, so they're 8-11 for the weekend. But I think we'll put a tasty boost up on site and try and get a few of you in there.
Okay. Cardiff City as well, not winning at home for 2 months. That rut they're in there, how much does that affect players?
Yeah, well,
Like the feel-good factor, when you're winning, you go, yeah, we're home, we're going to win.
yeah. Well, every good side eventually makes their home ground a tough place for the opposition, don't they? So when you're not picking up those vital points at home and performing well, I do think you do get quite frustrated. So, yeah, certainly in Cardiff City's case, it's tough, isn't it? They're going through a bit of a transitioning period, but yeah, look, any of the best sides that I've been lucky enough to play in, you always felt like when you're playing at home, we're going to be tough to beat here. And when you don't have that, it's tough then because you don't know where you're going to pick up your points, do you?
Yeah. Do the coaches or some other people in the coach staff change things at home and kind of change the vibe to make things happen? Or is it just all on the training ground?
That's just all on the training ground, really, isn't it? It's tough because your home game is the way where you want the fans to turn up week in, week out. And if you're obviously not putting in performances and getting results, that's usually sort of trickles away. Like, for example, Cardiff obviously playing some good rugby, but losing, they're still filling the crowd out. So with Cardiff obviously not winning for 2 months, that's an awful long time. Because you think how many games they play in that period of time. I think they'll definitely be thinking, thinking about their home fans in terms of we need to put a result somewhere and trying to change, obviously, the momentum that they're going on.
Yeah, I think it affects the fans in a way of deja vu. When they see a goal go in and they think, oh, here we go again. And they don't really get behind the team in the same way because the belief isn't there, really.
I've been in part of teams before where maybe the home form has been great and we've looked at ways of of changing what we did as a routine before getting to the game day to try and see if we get a different reaction. And we've thought about that and changed it and had some success doing it, and some of it didn't work. But it's certainly something that I think a team will always look to identify. You can't be having, bad records at home in front of your fans, because that's where you build, the club's culture and momentum comes from your home fans, really, doesn't it? The home support's key.
Yeah, indeed it does. Okay, so for the Welsh teams... Go on, sorry.
They were getting booed as well, aren't they now, Gareth? I heard they were getting booed going into half-time. They weren't even losing at that point.
Yeah, they got booed, but I think it was a poor performance. I don't think that's anything about, the structure and what the coaches are doing going forward. I think it was just a flat performance,
Sure.
But it's never nice, is it, to a team being booed at home. It's a really big week in terms of football for all our Welsh teams. Swansea have got 2 massive matches. They play against Leeds on Tuesday night, and then they got Ipswich on Saturday. West Brom versus Cardiff on Tuesday night, and then Cardiff have Norwich away on Saturday, so 2 away games for them. Newport County in the mixed mid-table play Notts County, 11th versus 10th, and then Newport County on Saturday play 11th Gillingham. So that's a big week for Newport if they're going to push for the playoffs. And Wrexham are keen to bounce back, of course, from having a few dodgy results recently. They're now 5th in League 2. They're playing Sutton on 23rd, so hopefully they'll win Tuesday night. And then they play the biggest rivals of late, Notts County away for them. Right, so how do you see that going? Give me the odds across the week. Let's start with Tuesday night if we can.
Tuesday nights, we've got Swans at 9-2 against Leeds. Cardiff at 5-1. Newport at 17-10. But we're going to go for a big Will Evans price boost on that one. See how brave we're feeling by the time tomorrow comes round.
Yeah.
But the man's in form, isn't he? And he was a great character when he was on the other week. Real good boy. So yeah, we'll put a big boost up for him. And then Wrexham, as I said earlier, they're fairly big odds on 8-11. But we're going to boost them out big time as well, because I want to chase them out now they're out of form.
Okay, have you done the Saturday odds as well for them games? Because I think a lot of people will be looking at them as double headers.
Yeah, only gone as far as Cardiff against Norwich. So Cardiff are 3-1 and the Swans are 5-2. I think we'll probably put up a Kiefer Moore boost as well for Ipswich there, scoring against the Swans, scoring a header or something. So check out the site. We'll have some tasty ones up there, and of course we'll have all the doubles. The 2 teams to win, the 4 teams to win, and all that kind of stuff we normally have on.
Cue every single Cardiff City fan to put a bet on Kiefer Moore to score against the Swans. It's going to happen. How are you looking? Because I really, really fancy Newport to make the playoffs. What odds would you give me on that at this stage?
They're a big price. They are still 80-1 to be promoted, or they're 16-1 to finish in the top 7. So 81 to be promoted is a big price.
That's what we spoke last week, wasn't it?
Yeah. So in a way, for you as the bookies and for Newport fans, this weekend's massive this week, because if they're playing, they're 11th, they play Gillingham 9th, and they play Notts County, who are 10th. So now's the time to put that bet on.
Get on now. Get on while the price is hot, as they say.
There you go. I'm leading so many people astray here. It's unbelievable.
Responsibly. Okay. Get on responsibly.
How are you looking at Wrexham then? Because Wrexham haven't been in the best form. They lost once again on Saturday, which we didn't expect at all from Bradford. What odds have you got them to be promoted automatically, potentially?
I'm not sure we got to be promoted automatically. They're 6-1 to win the league. So they were, when we started this pod a few weeks ago, wasn't it? They were about 11-4. I thought it was a decent bet. They had a bit of momentum at the time, but now they're 6-1 to win it.
To win the league, yeah. Okay.
To win the league, yeah.
They're off that. Don't. That's not going to happen, Wrexham fans.
Not going to happen.
No, I don't think so. No, okay. And also, of course, I know you haven't got the URC odds on right now, but they'll be there by the weekend. Yeah, on the website.
Yeah, they'll be there for the weekend, a bit early, obviously, with all the team news. So we haven't got them up at the moment, but just to win the league, I think Leinster are heavy odds on to win it, 4-7. Munster are second favourites, 7-1. But we'll put up some kind of one of the 4 Welsh teams to win or something like that. So there'll be some boosts on the side.
Alex Cuthbert try scoring boost.
You've got to do that.
We'll have to, won't we? We'll have to now. Yeah. Go on then. We'll put it up.
Good. I want to turn to snooker as well. Gath, in New Zealand, do people play snooker?
No, not really.
No,
not that I'm aware of. A fair bit of pool, but not snooker.
That's fine. That's fair enough. A Welsh Open is in Llandudno from the 12th of Feb till the 18th. No Ronnie O'Sullivan for any Welsh fans going there, and all the Scousers come across from Liverpool to Llandudno as well. That's a shame, isn't it, Al? But how do you kind of see it? Because it's an open tournament now without Ronnie involved.
Yeah, massive. So he's not playing, he's stating anxiety, isn't he? Which we have massive anxiety every time Llandudno are mentioned, because they lost a manager at the start of the season, and lots of people found out about it before we did. The football, I think they're in the Cymru North, and they all had 4-timers. Them to lose the first 4 games, and the last game was called off, thank God, because there was a cup match, but it would have cost us, well, a heck of a lot of money. So when Llandudno mentioned, I get anxiety, same as Ronnie. But open tournament would be the best price on all the Welsh players, obviously, as we always are. Mark Williams 11-1 at the moment, and Selby's the tournament favourite at 6-1. But wide open tournament, and I think it should be a good one for the bookies, hopefully.
Yeah, okay. We've got our charity bet to do every single week. It does what it says on the tin, really. All profits go to Prostate Cymru and Latch. I get a bet and the boys get a bet as well. Boys, you go first. Where are you going with this one this week?
We're going for the horses this week. I think there's a big race at Ascot on Saturday. We're going to go for Piccadilly to turn over Long Pressé, I think. So I think I know that one.
I like that, Al. Yeah, I like that. So Piccadilly 7-4. It'd be really interesting to see Lahon Press, wouldn't it? Because he's still talked about for the Gold Cup at the moment. So if he puts in a performance, he could be going in the Gold Cup. But yeah, Piccadilly 7-4. I think he got good form at Ascot as well, didn't he?
Yeah, that's probably why I went for it,
yeah. Yeah, so 7-4, but we'll boost him out to 5-2 on the day for you.
And Gareth, do you trust your partner there with that?
He talks a talk with the horses, so I'll follow him in on this one. We'll see where he goes. So
okay.
We'll see if this one wins, and I'll follow him in and Cheltenham in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, it's like a tester for you.
It's just to show that I'm worth what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm going to stick to football. I'm going to go, because I really do fancy, as I said earlier, Newport County to get into the playoffs. So to back that theory, I'm going to go Newport County win, but Will Evans to score, so a double. Always chasing the big
that
money.
is 10-1 on the site, but we'll boost it out to 12-1 and we'll get the boost up after this call.
He likes me, James, doesn't he? He does like me, I'm telling you. Thank
I like
you, James.
your money, not you, Gareth. That's what I like.
Remember that, everyone, remember that. Okay, James, thank you as always. I wish you well for the weekend, and we'll see you next week, okay?
Cheers, boys. Be lucky. Thanks.
Cheers,
James.
Thanks, James. And remember, all your betting needs are covered from the lower leagues to the top leagues with Dragon Bet, the only place for Welsh sport fans in Wales. Get involved with the bookies that look after Welsh sport, but of course, please gamble responsibly. Okay, guys, we're done for another week. Al, you're just getting ready for the match on Sunday,
tomorrow.
yeah?
Yep, training tomorrow, game Sunday. So, day 1 tomorrow. So, yeah, looking forward to it. Hopefully, train well and get involved, and then hopefully, playing.
And Gareth, you're obviously training really hard now. I saw a lovely reel of you the other day in the gym. Looking good, mate. Really nice to see you kind of going for it.
Chucked a little bit of what I've been up to the last few weeks. So we're getting there. Hopefully get the boots on this week, actually. So, just getting closer. So, hopefully maybe jump in a little bit of training here and there, and it's feeling good. So, we'll just keep ticking off these boxes and hopefully be playing at some stage.
Yeah,
somewhere.
Positive. Great stuff. Yeah, great stuff. We'll keep across that with you. Right, it's been a pleasure to have you on, guys, and it's been a great pleasure to have your company wherever you're listening from at home as well. Remember, we'll be back next Monday for more Sport in Wales chat, and you can follow us on Instagram at Sport in Wales. Pick up the magazine in your various sport clubs, gyms, leisure centres, and lots of other places right across Wales, and of course online. Or subscribe at sportin.wales to have it in your inbox. Also, please remember to click follow wherever you listen to this podcast, so it's delivered to you as soon as it's out every single Monday. Tell your friends about us and share the love, and we'll catch you next week. Wherever you go, wherever you are, enjoy your Sport in Wales week.
Sport in Wales podcast.
Supported by Dragon Bet.
Your go-to for Welsh sports news and views.